TV18.
Welcome to Money, 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 your weekly personal finance date with me, Surabhi Upadhyay. As you can see, this week we're not in the studio, but we're actually at the brand factory at Haji Ali here in Mumbai. And the reason why we're here is that because it's that time of the year again. It's time to sparkle and shine. The festive buzz is back. People are out looking to spend and have a great time. So over the next couple of weeks at Money, 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 we will get you a series of specials that'll help you spend, invest, and really enjoy your wealth to the maximum this festive season. We start off this week with the Smart Shopping Special, and helping us watch the wallet this season is personal finance expert Harshvardhan Roongta. Harsh, it's great to always have you in the show.
My pleasure.
Today you're a different avatar, slightly more festive. We know that the buzz is back in the air. My first question to you, are there any limits? Because this is that time when you just want to be happy, you want to be with your friends and family. People do tend to kind of go a little overboard, don't they?
Absolutely, Surabhi. In fact, we've seen personal finance as a subject has been misunderstood by people, and they assume that when we talk about financial planning, it means only investing. Well, that's not true. The essence of financial planning is that you have money allocated for every aspect of your life. That could even include spending.
Sure.
So while we are in this festive season, I would say if you have planned well, so I put that under conditions.
If you have planned well.
If you have planned well, you can go ahead and splurge and spoil yourself this festive season.
Are the rules still supposed to be followed? And if yes, what are these rules?
Well, actually, the essence would remain the same. Now, let's look at a situation where your take-home income, it could be salary, it could be business, it could be profession, it could be anything. You have a take-home income of an X amount, say 100 rupees.
Yeah.
We suggest that you keep aside 20% towards your long-term goals. Now, which could be retirement, which could be children's education, could be buying a bigger house, could be anything of that sort. So 20% needs to be mandatorily invested.
And that applies even during the festive season. Though you're shopping and spending, that 20% investment has to be there.
In fact, I would go ahead and say during the festive season, there is a possibility that you will in fact be getting certain bonuses, your festive bonuses.
Yeah.
This 20% rule applies even to that. So when you follow that 20% rule, you have the liberty to do whatever you want with that 80%. So you need to manage your day-to-day expenses, your household expenses, and then if you're left with something, yeah, sure, go ahead and spend on yourself. I mean, you deserve it completely.
Now I'm going to ask you the next step. When you're looking at all this festive shopping and spending, is it okay to dip into your reserves, to dip into that odd fixed deposit, or to look at one, perhaps looking at doing away with one mutual fund? I know this is kind of, it's borderline issues that I'm touching here, but when do you know that it's okay to dip into your reserves to buy something in the festive season? It might be, that fancy TV that you wanted. You might be thinking of buying a new car. What are the rules?
So, well, when we talk about financial planning, in the inception level itself, at the inception itself, what we have done, if you have done that, what you're supposed to do is allocate resources towards your, it could be even splurging fund. You could have
a splurging fund.
Yeah, you could have one, a fund, a mutual fund, an asset allocation, or whatever you call that. You may have one investment, which is a splurging fund.
Okay.
I mean, you want to use it at the time of such occasions. I would not suggest that you dip into your PF plan for such as expenditure.
Okay.
Why? Because when you talk about luxury items, there is no limit to it. You can actually land up spending the moon and still not be satisfied with it. So there is somewhere that you will need to draw a line, and the only way that you can start looking at such things would be, distinguishing between your needs and wants. Even if you need it, or rather you want it, then you need to look back at your resources.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll actually present to you what team CNBC TV18 has been doing all this while. They're actually out there to find out where the best deals are. Will you be spoiled for choice? We're talking about consumer durables, we're talking about automobiles, and of course we're talking about e-commerce and a whole lot more. Here's team CNBC TV18 telling you what's on offer.
Mobile phone, camera, laptop or PlayStation, what is it you wish for? Well, whatever your wish is, this may well be the year you fulfill it. That is because after 2 years of weak consumer sentiment, retailers are upbeat about demand in this festive season and are leaving no stone unturned to attract consumers to their stores.
Starting from discounts to EMI schemes to cashback offers, retailers are going all out to make consumers loosen their wallets.
There will always be freebies. So all the brands with all the products will add some freebies or the other. Second is discounts which are there. And third now, which has become very important factor, is the EMI schemes. And we have seen in the last 2-3 years, each and every year, EMI schemes are getting better and better.
So what are the categories which are performing well and what are customers really looking to buy this festive season?
Where the growths are also highest in this period is clothing and fashion accessories, that contributes at this time of the year. It can contribute up to about 50% of the total sales that we would do in our stores.
Lots of offers all around and consumers couldn't be happier.
Clients and consumers, they are looking more towards quality rather than discounts.
I want a new laptop.
I would say a new phone or something like that.
Companies are not really giving any schemes. They are pricing the same code. What the iPhone is giving 65,000, 70,000 every year they launch. Say iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, so whenever they started. And Note or Samsung also doing the same thing.
We wait for these festive season discounts. We save our pocket money so that we can buy in the earphones and all other gadgets.
The discounts that are happening even in this store, it's usually on the local Indian products, but not on the international products say Sony or Samsung.
We are looking forward to buy iPhone, laptops of Apple, and that's it.
Companies are looking at a record festive season this year, with most of them expecting a 50% growth over previous year's festive season. This in turn will lift their financial fortunes for the year, making it a year to remember. In Mumbai, Yash Jain.
It's not going to be raining discounts for brick and mortar retailers this festive season, but they already have offers that they have lined up to actually draw in customers to their stores. In fact, Future Group has the promotional offers as well as loyalty points for customers. Similarly, Shoppers Stop has purchase-backed reward offers as well as discount vouchers for customers. So what essentially brick and mortar retailers are focusing on this time around is on power pricing, and that's what's going to get customers into their stores.
Flash drives at 1 rupee, high-end Samsung smartphones at 1,500 rupees, and Apple MacBooks for 2/3 the price. It's that time of the year when e-tailers open the floodgates to a spate of aggressive deals and discounts. No wonder that 40% of annual e-shopping happens during the last 3 months of the year. Amazon India, for instance, is hosting its Great Indian Sale in the first week of October. It's offering deals 30 minutes early for Amazon Prime users and has also launched an in-house fashion label. The e-commerce giant is also offering 15% cashback on the app.
Selection, convenience and price. And by providing the access to millions of customers, sellers' operating cost or the cost structure goes down dramatically, that can translate into better prices for the customers.
Rivals Flipkart and Snapdeal are surely not willing to be left behind. Flipkart's Big Billion Day annual shopping festival is on from the 2nd to the 6th of October, with the first 3 days dedicated to individual categories such as fashion, home, TV and appliances, mobiles and accessories, and electronics. Snapdeal is going head-to-head with the others with its Unboxed Diwali sale from the 2nd to the 6th of October. The e-retailer is giving customers the option to buy gold and silver coins online this year and is also offering collateral-free loans worth 1,000 crore rupees to sellers. While customers will have plenty of choice, there's a sense that throwaway prices and jaw-dropping discounts may not be the norm this season. With Adit Charlie in Bengaluru, in Mumbai, Arif Sherwani.
Thanks for that, guys. We're definitely spoiled for choice this season. But the question is, where do you buy? Brick and mortar versus online. The fight goes on and the battle promises to be fairly intense this season as well. So is online shopping really smart? To help us answer that question, we've got a special guest who's flown down all the way from New Delhi. We have Sanchit Gogia, who's the CEO of Greyhound Research, joining us on this leg of the show. Sanchit, it's a pleasure to have you on Money, Money, Money. Thanks for coming in. We're going to take a break and talk about online retail on the other side. Welcome back. You're with the Smart Shopping Special on Money, Money, Money as we kick off our festive series. And this week we have Harshvardhan Roongta with us, and also we have Sanchit Gogia of Greyhound Research to tell us about whether online is really the smarter choice. Sanchit, so that's really the question, right? We have these mega sales which are coming up, and you have these big discounts. Are the discounts for real? That's my first question.
Well, look, if you go back in time 3 years ago, there were lots of issues with how these discountings were actually even being delivered to the customer, right? So a lot of interest was being passed on as part of discount, but still being charged by the banks and the retail companies to the customer. Now, the RBI came in and said, look, you can't really do that. So this is the first time actually in the history of the country where, you know, the true zero discount policy and EMI is going to be real for this time, because the interest rates and all the convenience fees will not be actually charged to the customer, and the retailer and the banks are actually taking up that fees, and they're going to incubate that fees as part of their margins.
So what kind of discounts can we expect, and how have the past trends been? Do you expect it to be pretty much similar this year?
So I think, look, broadly the discounting trends are going to be very aggressive this year as well, but we're going to see very new trends this time around. But you know, even before we talk about purely discounting, I think you know, shopping online is actually no different from shopping offline actually. Even before you think about going online for that big discount, it's important to take a step back and look at what actually you're wanting to buy in the first place, because there's certain goods like white goods which are very heavily dependent on warranty and repairs and maintenance. You know, people still prefer to buy them offline actually, because you can still go on the street and catch the...
Is that a valid concern? Because a lot of people say that I'll get better maintenance if I know my retailer, and therefore I should actually not be lured by the discounts being offered online. Is that a valid argument?
Absolutely it is. If you look at Flipkart, it's launched this entire new campaign on Flipkart Assured. It already used to have something on Flipkart First. Now, why is that there? Because, you know, when they went back to their customers said, look, while service is an issue, quality and assurance that this is a verified product from a verified seller, they really want to know that. Also, lots of these cheap products which, you know, tend to be more expensive offline, like your mobile phone covers, you know, they are not really selling hot so much on the road these days. But whereas in online, if you see, these mobile accessories are very cheap. So they're clearly products which are selling hot online, and we will see them continuing. Also, what we will see this time around is lots of mini discount and big discounts. So like Flipkart and Amazon have these big billion days. You know, last time around, everything was at sale all 5 days. But this time around, what you will see is certain categories going on sale on one specific day, and that sale will be washed out the second day to be introduced, let's say, a new category.
Do you expect servers to crash again? I mean, it's been, one of those forgettable headlines.
I know, but it was still a headline, and Flipkart got its due advantage out of that, right? So, well, look, I think the companies have learned from their past experiences. They're much better at managing technology this time around, and they understand what kind of inflow of customers can they expect this year. In fact, the fact that they're launching multiple discounting levels within a single broad program means that they're going to have different varied of customers at every given day, at any given point in time. Okay. So also, if you see, all these online commerce portals are actually doing a fantastic job actually tying up with lots of banks, tying up with lots of app companies to be able to offer better experiences.
So, you know, let me get in Harsh on that note as well. Harsh, I don't know, your thoughts on online buying. I mean, personally, have you dabbled in online shopping or not? What's your sense about the whole thing?
So, well, when I look at buying a particular product, the first, the requirement is that I need a comparison. So while I could do that online at the convenience of my house, and at any point in time, I could be sitting at midnight and just fiddling on my mobile and trying to get a comparison. Well, that helps me. So
gets you the best price.
And the second element would be getting the best price. So convenience is one, the comparison part, and the second is to actually be able to buy it. So in between, we did feel those, we had those phase when the companies themselves came out with some advisory saying that we are not Flipkart or Amazon, for that instance, are not authorized sellers. So any product bought from them will not be serviced. So there was some kind of news that was making, some headlines in between. So that was a cause of concern. Barring that, I think it's just the convenience and the price comparison.
How do you actually rate the association with the merchant or the vendor? I mean, because Flipkart or Amazon, they're just aggregators, right? They're just platforms. What about the actual association between the buyer and the seller and the after-sales delivery and the service and all of that?
It's a huge rub-off, honestly, if you ask me. To his point on warranties going void, I'll give you a classic example. If you buy a phone from, let's say, a Flipkart or anywhere else, all they can do is to verify the seller, but they actually can't tell if that phone has been imported from, let's say, Thailand and doesn't have a local warranty. So there have been cases, and there continue to be cases where, let's say, PC sellers and mobile sellers continue to be concerned about great things coming into the country and being sold on, let's say, a Flipkart or, let's say, an Amazon. Having said that, what we must realize is that both Flipkart and Amazon are taking necessary steps to verify both the seller and the product. That's why we have something called, let's say, the Flipkart Verify today, right? So while there's a level of branding that, of course, goes with the primary brand, let's say Adidas or Nike, or let's say a Dell or for that matter from a PC perspective, but there's also a branding of a Flipkart or, let's say, an Amazon, which will actually go out and actually personally verify the fact that this seller is a good seller, is a verified seller in this product. So it's a rub-off actually both ways.
Look for those Flipkart verified or Amazon verified
It's very, very important to look out for that.
Finally, which categories do you think will be the hottest? You mentioned some of them, and you mentioned mobile phones or mobile phone covers for that matter. But what do you think will really sell like hotcakes this year?
This year is going to be fashion. All of a sudden, we see the focus on fashion has gone so high, and there's been so much investment and talk about fashion. So for me, this time around, it's going to be fashion. It'll be wishful thinking if I say something else, but this time, mobile phones has been done and dusted, books have been done and dusted. Fashion really hasn't been done and dusted in specialized fashion. For example, Amazon launched its own specialized apparel brand as well very recently, right? So clearly that goes to show that all these commerce players are hugely focused on fashion, because that is a very high margin category for them.
So between brick and mortar pricing and online pricing, what's a typical variation that we can expect?
It's a very difficult question. It depends on what you're buying, right?
A guesstimate, a rough guesstimate.
Anywhere between 25 to 50% bare minimum, right? Let's say on a brand that is known on the street and both also online, you can see a 25 to 50%. Also what we see is, when you go and buy the latest in fashion, the variance is less, the delta is less, but when you buy, let's say, one stock old, which is higher in inventory, you always get even sometimes 75% discounting. So that's actually the advice we give to our consumers, that, it's always not important to buy the latest in town. In fact, go online to look at the -1 release of what your best thing was. Let's say a kurta you wanted to buy. Why buy the latest? Probably one which is still in fashion and still holds good and 75% cheaper. So
that is definitely a smart shopping tip. We're going to take a break. The conversation continues on the other side. Welcome back here with a festive smart shopping special on money, 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 and we've been in conversation with both our guests. So Harsh, now it's time to really ask you the basic question. There are some things that you will buy which will have a lot of logic and sense, and there'll be assets that you might want to acquire this season, like a car, like a house, and then there will be the luxury purchases, the impulsive purchases. What's okay and what's not okay?
So, well, Surbhi, it's important to know while we are in the festive season, but still this does not give you the right to cheat onto your financial plan. So, well, the basic and the starting point is, while you have the liberty to cheat a bit, but please do not go overboard.
What's a bit?
Now, when you come to a bit, now the question is, the rules are you do not dip into your reserves.
Okay.
For this festive
So no breaking
shopping.
your FD, no redeeming a mutual fund, no
Certainly
redeeming
not.
shares, none of that.
Certainly
For
not.
a fancy party where you call all your friends, not happening.
Absolutely not, because your party is going to be short term, but the sorrows are going to be long term, right? So while money is what money does, well, we have to look at money seriously even in the festive season. What I'm more concerned about is areas like fashion related stuff that we just spoke about, buying a high-end mobile phone only because it is on offer. So these are the things that you would certainly need to be very careful about.
So the finger is being pointed at e-commerce, Sanchit, and we've heard this, that e-commerce has really, increased this impulsive spending habit. Do you agree with that? And then are there any caveats you'd like to put in place so people are a little, trigger careful while being trigger happy with their phones?
I think it's increased only so much, right? I mean, people always spend and love to spend in festive season. Anyway, he's the expert on that, but I think purely from an e-commerce perspective, it's very important to watch out for spoofing websites, because there are tons and tons of these spoofing websites which come up for this one single week, which offer you better discounts, but they actually take away your credit card information and your personal information. So it's very important actually to look out for such websites and actually not give away your personal information. One is that. Second of all, look, the computing device you use to actually make the payment from is very important. You have to ensure you've got the latest operating system on your laptop or your desktop or let's say your mobile, you have a very good and robust antivirus on your program as well, so as to ensure there are no phishing attacks which can attack you personally, very importantly, right? Third of all, I think it's this year, the zero cost EMI is a huge one for me, quite frankly, right? So this year it's time to actually go out and look for such zero cost EMI offers, because that's really going to be the big push, let's say from a Future Group, from a Flipkart, both offline and online. These actually companies have gone out and actually tied up with SBI, with Axis Bank, with Citibank, HDFC.
So it's actually the bank that's going to foot the bill on the interest?
Actually both, retailers and the banks, which are going to come together and foot the bill for the consumer. So it's really good to actually watch out for these programs, because it can really help you. Actually, fourth of all, there are lots of these brand-specific campaigns which are happening on online these days. And let's say Lico tied up with an online portal like Flipkart and said, let's only sell online, right? Similarly, you will see brand-specific campaigns going out with specific online commerce portals, and you should look out for these deals as well. And last but not the least, just my fifth point, it's very important to plan. It's not like last time around where everything is available for a sale at all these 5-6 days, honestly, right?
You have to know your category and attack on the right day.
Absolutely. Also, build yourself a cart well ahead of time, so that as soon as the sale starts, you click and say, I want to buy. But there's a caveat there. The caveat is sometimes the pricing does change over seconds. So what you actually might have purchased it initially for and put in your cart for, the end price might look very different to that. So be prepared for when you actually press buy now to actually what you started to build your cart from, the price may look totally different. So it's very important to plan ahead of time and look out for these golden offers which will be offered this time, which were actually not last time.
That's a great idea. This is how you can probably ride the e-commerce roller coaster with safety this season. So finally, we'll come down to last thoughts. Harsh, if you could encapsulate all of this for us in terms of some basic thumb rules or your mantras in terms of how to spend right and spend smart this season.
So as I said, financial planning is not about only investing. It's about creating that corpus and having an experience called guilt-free spending. You should not feel bad after having spent that I wish I had not spent on this particular item.
Well, you've given us the best sum-up line, I think, for this particular show. Guilt-free spending is what we all need to target. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking out the time and being with us. That's it on this festive shopping special on Money, Money, Money. But do keep it with us over the next coming weeks. More ideas for this festive season, how to spend right and how to invest right. Thanks for being with us.